You're watching the Live Well, brought to you by Rapala.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Live Well presented by Rapala. I'm Tommy Sanders here with Ronnie Moore. Our 23 season for the Bassmaster Elite Series is up and rolling now. We start with 2 events in Florida, and the second one is going to be at Lake Seminole. It's been a decade since these Elite Series anglers, and many of them have not been there to Lake Seminole, but what a fantastic place it is. Almost took 100 pounds to win 10 years ago when we were there.
When you think about Lake Seminole and Okeechobee, those 2 places, you can't get 2 more iconic places, close proximity to start off the Bassmaster Elite Series season. The history dating way back to when Bass was even founded and started.
Oh, yeah.
These were 2 destinations that were key, rich fishing history and heritage that helped Bass propel into what it is today. So I'm so excited. And like you said, 2014, the last time we were there, it was my first Bassmaster event.
That's
I worked
right,
other
that's
than the
right.
Classic. Getting to be there in person and see that place, see what it produced. I've fished college events there as well. This is a great body of water, and I'm glad the time of the year that we're going, we could go in the fall, you could go in the summer, you could go a little later in the spring. When you get right around that February mark and that pre-spawn spawn, we're kind of tiptoeing on that fence. This is a great time to be at Seminole because there is so much to offer.
Beautiful place on the Chattahoochee River. You know the Chattahoochee for Lanier and for West Point and Harding, Lake Harding, Eufaula, where we had a great tournament there in 2020. We'll be back there with the Opens this year, as a matter of fact. So it's terrific fishing, and it's a beautiful place, and it's just a perfect setup. Not too big, 37,500 acres, I think, 375 miles of shoreline, but just everything looks good there.
Yeah, navigating from Bainbridge, you're going to hop into the Flint River, Tommy, on the far east side of the lake, and you're going to go from the Flint all the way down to the main river. And when you get to the meat of the fishing area, you're going to see the Wingates area on your on your left
Bunker
going down the
Lodge,
lake. You're going to see Spring Creek on the right, and that's going to eat up a lot of anglers there in the center portion of the lake. But like you said, the Chattahoochee on the far west side, that's kind of where Alabama, Georgia, and Florida all meet right there towards the dam. Lake Seminole is just got a great variety. One thing that we worry about with grass lakes is the managing and the maintenance of the grass. Spraying the grass, messing with it too much, sometimes it comes back differently. Seminole is one of those places, it may get treated and it may get maintained, but it's a place that's got plenty of grass. We never have to worry about, will Seminole have grass, will it not have grass? It should have plenty of grass. It should be at varying levels as well, depending on where you are. Some places it'll be grown up a lot more where it's protected. Some places where there's more current, it may be shorter in the process of growing. You also have all of that standing timber that these fish that used to be 10 years ago, Tommy, pelagic, you couldn't catch them. They didn't even fish for them in the Elite Series. Now we're gonna have that aspect unlocked for the anglers, especially with all the technology we have going forward.
We look back 10 years and talk about the differences between now and then. Back then it took about a 14 pound per day average to make the cut. You see this, something similar to that this time around?
I definitely think it's gonna go up. It just really depends on if there's a cold front that hinders the progress of these fish. You know, some of those times we hit it where those fish are on the move to the spawn, and then all of a sudden the cold front stunts them back. They're in no man's land. They don't want to be up on the bank because it's too cold. They're not back where they were in the staging areas, and they're in between. I think if we have plenty of staging fish, there's going to be some pretty good weights. This could be, Tommy, the highest weight event of the season. There's 3 or 4 that are capable of doing that, maybe breaking 100 pounds. We talk about all the time. I really think that Seminole, I don't think we break 100, but I think we get really close. I think we do have some 90s weights there. We'll have plenty of 80s, and I think down the field, down to around 50th where the cut is, like you said, I would be very shocked if it didn't take over 15 a day. You know, 15 pounds a day is very solid there, and I would expect that time of the year, even if you're not hitting on all cylinders as an angler, it's hard to not run into 15 pounds at Seminole this time of the year.
Well, back in 2014, the chatterbait was the deal back in those days. What differences do you anticipate now?
I think we're going to see a lot of big baits because since 2014 happened, we've seen a lot of big baits come into play. We've seen a lot of forward-facing sonar baits come into play. So if we think about it and kind of set it up that way, you're going to have your textbook stuff, the bladed jigs, your lipless crankbaits. Those are going to be deals. Then you're going to have those guys flipping shallow grass or maybe perusing for spawning fish. That's a deal. But when it comes to the forward-facing sonar and the timber, those ditches, there's a whole creek channel that goes through Spring Creek that you could find 200 schools of fish if you wanted, just spread out throughout there. Anglers are going to have their places to pick, and I think big glide baits, maybe like the Storm Arashi glide, that could be a thing. Big single swim baits could be a deal as well, and also the jerk baits, like I said, the lipless crankbaits, those baits that you're going to be able to see on your electronics, those fish that are suspended, those fish are now catchable, Tommy. I would like to say we won't see finesse fishing, but anytime there's fish on electronics, even if they're easy to bite, at times guys will opt for a drop shot, things like that. I think we'll see a lot of moving baits in this one. If we see a lot of slow presentations at Okeechobee, we could see a lot of moving baits at Seminole, because these fish will change day by day, hour by hour, sometimes depending on sunny skies or cloudy conditions.
All right, no matter what happens, I mean, we got a lot to look forward. And I would remind you, this is 10 years ago again. That almost 100 pounds, that 98.5 pounds was 3.5 days of fishing, actually.
Last day was cut short big time. They had the huge storms come through. I really think that Seminole has a great potential. It has a great potential for weights throughout the field. We sometimes see those places that have that 100 pounds and it kind of falls off a cliff. I think that we could really see, you know, I don't want to be wrong, but 15 to 20 guys over 65, 70 pounds, which is great for 3 days of fishing for some of those people. I think that you really will. If you catch 20 a day, you're on the right track, but that doesn't mean you're going to be in the top 10.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. 10 years ago, that was 2014, the last year that we weren't able to do live coverage for you. This time around, we're going to get to see Seminole live all 4 days of competition, the 23rd through the 26th of February, right here on Bassmaster.com, Saturday and Sunday on Fox Sports 1, and also the digital platforms as well. It will be great. Seminole, here we come. That's the live well for today.